Very exciting town hall, everybody. Man who needs no introduction, Luke Wakefield, who is from SiteGlide, as you can see on his shirt right there. And he'll be taking us through all the amazing work that he and the team have been building out over the last many months. And in terms of frameworks and flexibility, it's everything and more that you would want in a development environment for those who are coming in with a non-technical background and building sites, right through to those hardcore command line interface type people, all to build the modern web and applications. So Luke, without further ado, over to you, mate.
Thanks, Adam. Hi, everybody. Yeah, great to be back. It's been a little while, actually. It's been 3 months since the last one. Yeah, we just had a busy 3 months building features, getting partners onboarded, and got quite a lot to show, really. So I'll just share my screen. Can everybody see that?
Looking good.
Great, cool. Yeah, so this is quite a big update. In the past, there's been quite long town halls, I think, and I'm going to try and keep it short. I'm going to try and show you some features, show the main update, and then it'd be great to do questions at the end if that's okay. Obviously, jump in if you can't see the screen or anything like that. But yeah, I'd really like to try and show everything, and then welcome all sorts of questions and go through any bits in more detail if that would help, because there's quite a bit that undoubtedly we'll cover. Yeah, so the last 3 months it was about 3 months ago when we did the last town hall. That was to show off migrations, one-click import to SiteGlide from a BC export, use a BC exporter, and Ecommerce, beta, and a few other things. So since then, we have oh yeah, another thing to mention is, yeah, feel free to add questions as we go in the chat, and some of my team, I think Dean and Matt, are online to help answer those questions, and we'll go through them at the end. So feel free to just ask away. So yeah, we launched the Ecommerce beta. That people have been using that. We've actually used that to launch a few big sites that our partners have. We've helped partners do it that are bringing in some pretty impressive revenue and signing users signing up. Then we have done a lot of partner onboarding, helping partners get started, training and getting on board, being able to migrate sites. In June, we were looking at subscriptions to be able to do recurring payments and billing on top of e-commerce. That's quite key for a few particular projects and which have gone live. Then a big focus on some developer tools. So not just building our UI and our product, but making sure that people have total control of coding the way they would like to from their own IDE, and also having full access of platform OS and being able to connect up to other systems via API. A big one that I'm hoping to show quickly and explain, because we've talked about it a bit but haven't really explained it, is design system. It's quite hopefully a revolutionary way of designing and building websites, and we'd like to show you that. And I think it's a great way to migrate sites and also build new sites. A process that once you get into it can be really efficient and profitable. And then a big update on the portal, the partner portal, that actually happened in the last few days. I'm sure you'll have an email from us about that. So as a big overhaul to allow us to handle multi-level agencies, clients, sites, users, and then billing as well, being able to get to a point where you can set your own billing and automatically earn recurring revenue. So yeah, been pretty busy. Today we're going to cover the design system flow. So some sort of start scratch, how you might use it for migrating sites from BC to SiteGlide, and generally just how sort of best practice building sites using a design system, and in particular ours that is fully integrated. Then a proper developer update, so how you could use the CLI, the API, and other integrations to build more bespoke sites and and just do more and take real control at a platform OS level as well, get the full control of platform OS. So that's one of our biggest missions from the beginning, was to help people get the full potential out of platform OS and not build glass ceilings and limitations. The next one, the portal update that I mentioned, we'll have a quick look at that. Then just on to some updates. We've been a bit quiet. We've noticed that. We want to do better communication, but also we've switched to a weekly release schedule. So you'll be seeing there's a live roadmap, there's a live release notes page, and you'll be seeing weekly updates with features and bug fixes and yeah, hopefully exciting updates. So yeah, the main focus really for us is not just quickly migrating a few sites, taking old code from BC and trying to make it fit into a platform. It's leapfrogging to the next latest technology and ecosystem and building just high-end quality websites, applications, and we honestly believe we couldn't have picked a better partner for that in platform OS, and we still haven't managed to hit a real limitation yet. So the challenge is on. Yeah, so I wanted to start with the design system. We've talked a little bit about this in the past, but we've been building this in the background and sort of ready to release it and explain it to everybody. So this is quite a different way of working to templates and themes and things like that that WordPress has, or some of the other platforms. And the reason for that is they can be quite verbose, quite rigid, quite similar, and don't often have the best sort of approach really compared to bespoke development. But there is a happy medium of best practice and building things the right way. So we have taken the design system concept, which well-known concept, but integrated it tightly into SiteGlide, so you can design and build quickly and stick to best standards, have good developer handoff from design to development, all sorts of reasons which I'll show you. But yeah, so saving time, all sorts of things. I'm going to start with the design side, but that isn't essential. I'll come back to that. But you can essentially, there's an online tool called Figma. It's completely free. You're welcome. You can use it. You can just go to the website and sign up. We've got a file that we provide free of charge to partners with loads and loads of design layouts in it that you can customize, mock up sites for clients. So it helps you speed up the design process and the flow of getting design signed off, which can be a challenge. And then when you are ready to build, rather than then trying to cut from PSD or start from scratch and work out how you're going to build it, we've got the other side of that already built. So we've got the design system module, which is based on core Bootstrap 4 with Flexbox. It's fully integrated into SiteGlide. There's global variables and all sorts of tools to speed up the development process. So you could start from either our core layouts in the design system, or you could fully customize them and make it a completely bespoke site. So this is not about just building sites that all look the same. It's starting from best practice and good standards and building on top of that, saving a lot of time. And then we have the layout library, and that's where it really integrates. So I'll show you that, where you can pick our layouts in code and quickly start building from them, and then editing content right within SiteGlide. Hopefully that explains it at an overview. I'll move on and show you a demo, and then we can come back to it at the end as well. So the next thing to explain is layout library and visual editor, and then we'll do a demo of the whole lot. So this is where it gets hopefully quite interesting, where you can quickly build out pages and sites using the layout library and design system approach, and then you've got visual editor to customize on top. So I mentioned that you don't have to do the design step. You could completely skip it. You could take our layouts, build out a page, and then fully customize it at that point. So it's completely up to you, and you can fit it into your best practice and flow. But yeah, you can essentially build sites without needing to code. The coding is for customization and design enhancements on top. You have total control. There's no limit to what you can do with with our layouts or with our design system, it is Bootstrap essentially, and it's HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and Sass. You can do whatever you want, and even more via the CLI, which I'll come on to. And then finally, one that I think is virtually unique and sets it apart from many of the other sort of website builders is it works fully with dynamic content. This would be completely useless if we had the power of platform OS and then we're only able to do static websites. We need it to be able to work with dynamic content, complex functionality, all those kind of things. So you can still write all the custom code and dynamic scripts, web apps, all that kind of stuff, have it in the page, and Visual Editor is just for managing static content. And it was a big challenge to overcome that. Yeah, so I think we'll go straight into a demo. Let me jump across. So what I'll do quickly is show you the design system first in Figma. So as I say, this step is optional, but this is a file that you can download and customize if you want to. It depends on your flow and how you work. But in here, we've got a few different steps that help set it up, things like style guides and just best practices with colors, that kind of thing, some symbols and things you might use. But mainly, it is a collection of layouts. So you've got headers, hero banners, these are all designed and then have corresponding code for. So you can quickly piece together a website. You've got sort of e-commerce layouts as well. Again, these aren't just static layouts. They form part of our modules and can be used for web apps as well. So you might use that for your category layout, for example, in the e-commerce module and the cart. But then they're also available in HTML in the layout library. So yeah, all types of content that you can sort of work from, really. They're all numbered and named. You just piece together the pieces that you want. Maybe sort of you want to redesign the blog, so you've got different list views of how a blog could look. A nice sort of visual one would be portfolio, just pulling out items from a web app and displaying them in a list view. Again, you could just bring in a different layout, change the web app layout and apply the new one without having to code any of that. But then if you want to design on top, you can fully customize. So you would then sort of piece it together into a wireframe. I'm not going to go into this too much, but essentially this is a great way of wireframing and going through your flow of design. If you do sort of bigger projects and more custom projects, you'd want to do this process. And I can show you a few examples in a minute or later on of projects where our partners have done that. So yeah, so that's the Figma side of things. Then what you would do is you could work in Figma or not. You would then come into SiteGlide and you'd be able to go to pages. And this is newly released in the beta version, which you're welcome to play with. I've created a page. It can be any of your pages. And then in Page Builder, you just have code. It's just HTML and just sort of standard code, image links, all that kind of stuff. This code has been brought in from Layout Library. So all I did was I went to, let's have a look at it first, let's preview. So that code ends up looking like this. This is a page built up of modular sections. So pictures, text areas, features, these are all fairly basic ones, contact information, but it could end up being anything, absolutely any content, any module, any of those kind of things. This is primarily for static content that I'll show you at the moment. So you put all of that in there. You then go off to, sorry, so that's all in there at the moment, but to build it, you would have gone off to Layout Library. There's a link at the bottom. And this will just show you a whole library of layouts and sections. The great thing about this is at the moment, there's some work to do. There's some layouts to tidy up. There's more to add, but this is a collaborative place that can just grow over time. We can, we'll be adding to it, but partners could submit new layouts that they want to add. Eventually, partners could be selling it on a marketplace, selling collections of layouts. It's like the themes and the templates approach, but in a very modular, standardized way. So yeah, you'd go through here and you'd pick one that you want to use. You click copy raw code, go back to the admin, wherever you want to insert it, just paste it in. And then if you click save, that would add it to the page. that's just added that to the bottom of the page. So it's just dropping in code. The thing that's different about that is it's not just any old code, it's part of the design system module. So the design system module is the core that runs it, the bootstrap code, variables and everything. So if you go in and change an H2 or change a certain style, it will update everywhere. If you want to then override it in a certain layout or a certain area, you do that as well. So it's standardizing how you build and design. When hopefully that gets a little bit interesting is the new visual editor. So you can then click this button. That will take you to the visual version of that page. And you can come into here and you can start editing content if you want to. But you can also go full screen. So if you click full screen, it'll give you the whole page as if you're viewing it. And just start. I'll type on a demo, and you can just start editing content, doing whatever you need to it using the bar here. Obviously, we can expand on this as we go, but this is the new way that we're going to approach editing content and managing static content. You can obviously images pull through as well. They're actually using the sort of static, they're using the asset URL way, which means that they load from a CDN and are optimized. But you can totally manage all your content, all your static content here and build out pages. And then obviously if you were to go back out to full screen and click save, that would update on the live version of the site. So I'm trying to think what we edited now. Yeah, so making that bold and changing the name. So all the edits you make would obviously save. Then back in here in Page Builder, it's updated here. You can flick between these two and edit them as well. So you've got total control between code and design. So that gives an idea of quickly using design system, layout library and visual editor all together. And that's a way to build maybe landing pages, websites, whatever it might be. But this doesn't really show the dynamic content side or how it would actually work on a real site. So we'll
quick question. Sorry, sure. Luke, 2 questions. Ryan's asking, how do we get our custom Figma layouts into SiteGlide? Actually, Dean just went ahead and answered that in detail. So all good there.
If we need to go through anything at the end, happily go over it and show it. So was there anything else that was sort of?
There was, but they've been answered too. So
okay, cool. Yeah, so I thought I'd show a site that uses this rather than just an example of layout library. But hopefully this gives an idea of what you can build from scratch. Like you've not had to code anything at this point. You've just pieced it together. Obviously, it looks just like sort of wireframes and layouts at this stage, but you can fully customize that on top. In fact, let me just very quickly show that first. So for the developers or for people who want to fully customize, you can then come into the code editor and start applying custom tags. So however you might want to do that, you have a file called custom CSS and you can just start applying that. So you'd never do this, but let's say you wanted to make the H2 80 pixels, that would just start updating everywhere. Obviously, you do some good design. I'm not a designer or a developer, so I'll put that back. Yeah, you've got full control, as I say, over all the code, all the CSS, or everything. So if we just go and apply that now to a client site, if we do the visual editor side of things first, this is a page, I've copied it from their site, so I don't edit their main site. But again, you'll see that they've got content in there, a static HTML, but also there's a couple of sort of liquid bits. And then further down, we've got a web app and another code snippet. So when you go through to visual editor, you will, and we go full screen. Again, you can just start editing, formatting, whatever you need to do. Putting links on, changing colors and backgrounds, changing font sizes, all sorts of things. You'll also see then the sort of liquid just doesn't render, and that's really important and something we spent quite a bit of time on, because you wouldn't want to render out the dynamic code, because then it doesn't become dynamic anymore. So you can have static and dynamic content working simultaneously, and they don't impact one another. So The only downside is it could look a bit strange to a non-technical person. So what we're doing is we're going to change these so that they display a box that says dynamic content here, or just hides it and make it clearly non-editable content that a client would get used to and not expect to edit. So they would have full control over the static content. If this was a web, well, this is a web app as a slider, they would then go off to the web app and edit the content in there. So all content is editable. It's just whether it's static or dynamic. Yeah, so hopefully that gives an idea of managing a real site, real content, dynamic content with static. This is in beta, so play around with it. There will be some things that need to be worked on. There'll be some improvements. I'll show you in a minute the next step of this, to actually make it more of a builder than an editor. So you'll actually be able to insert content visually rather than the way I've just shown. So again, we'll come back to questions, I think, on that one. I'm just going to show you a client example of the design system. Just actually 1 second. If I jump back to here. So this was showing, yeah, layout library and visual editor as it is now. The next step, as I mentioned, would be to enhance that and take it from an editor to a builder. We don't want to become another sort of Wix or one sort of simple static site page builder, but we totally value being able to quickly piece together landing pages, campaigns, websites, whatever it might be, from a static perspective. And then also being able to pull in dynamic content as well. It's just, why wouldn't you make it possible visually as well? But the main focus is not compromising quality of code, flexibility, all those things. So we'll get it to a point where you'd be able to, the layout, the visual builder would look like this, where you'd actually be able to pull in all those layout library content sections. Just click on it, add it into the page, and you can essentially visually build the page. Also, you'd be able to use it for dynamic content as well at some point. So you'd be able to insert, like you can with our toolbox, you'd be able to insert a web app and pick your layout and those kind of things, but that's a little bit further off. I think this will be really useful initially for landing pages, those kind of modules where you'd just want to piece together a specific type of page, but you could use it to build websites as well. We'll then expect to extend into email campaigns. Got a very quick demo of email marketing to show as well. So that would also be the next use case where you could build out an email campaign. Good. I think that was everything. There's a lot of potential there, I think, is the point to make. So yeah, I just wanted to summarize how we see this being useful in terms of BC and the problem that partners have at the moment, which is sites on BC, needing to migrate them, needing to do something with them. A lot of the approach has been, for some platforms and some partners, is to just copy old code, paste it in, hope it works, try and refactor it, those kind of things. It's the right solution in some cases where budget is low and if the site is relatively new, and there's lots of reasons why you might do that if it's a very complex site, let's say, but there's hopefully a good argument for taking a bit of time to improve and leapfrog competitors and a chance to come out with something far better and that really integrates with the platform and gets the most out of the platform. Building from scratch obviously is a no-go for some clients and some partners because of cost, but we believe this is a sort of hybrid where you can migrate without really spending much more time than you would doing like for like. Good example of that is where you have to take the BC menu and convert it into a new menu in any platform. There's so much standard BC specific code that you would need to work out and copy and change. If you used our menu builder, you build the menu and then you just style it and you pick one of our layouts from design system and customize on top, and it's likely to be quicker or very similar. So it's also an opportunity to improve the structure of the site, the design, the speed, page speed perhaps, the way it loads, SEO, all sorts of things. So I do think it's definitely a good opportunity to do that without really much additional cost or downside. Yeah, I think I probably covered those points. And I just wanted to very quickly show an example of that. So for this client, we have a partner called Wizzy, who I'll show later on. I actually started that agency about 10 years ago, and they're obviously now building sites onto SiteGlide, and they use the design system approach. So David, their designer, he took the core design system files, went through them and customized them to the client's requirements, and actually did the whole process with the client in terms of commenting. You can sort of comment on what was said, and styling it to get it to a point where he can hand that off to a developer. As I say, this might be too much for some projects, but this is quite a good approach when the sites are more bespoke. So he did that design. We then took the design system layouts, and the end result is this site here. So this is built onto SiteGlide, following the designs from design system. It uses design system at the core, but it was built obviously using all the SiteGlide functionality. So you've got pages, forms, web apps, all the features that you might need. Yeah, so that's an example of putting design system into practice the whole way through the sort of migration rebuild approach. You can do that very simply without too much customization, or you can do a more complex version. Completely up to you. Trying to keep it short because there's quite a bit more to show. So again, do log any questions and we'll go back over them, but hopefully that gives a good idea of the design system itself, how you might use it to migrate sites, how you use it to build new sites, and the visual editor as well. So the next one, much smaller things to show now. Well, big things, but I'm going to show them very quickly. So we really wanted to do a proper developer update, as I mentioned, showing all the things that a developer can do on top of SiteGlide, or enhancements that we've made to make it more well, just completely flexible and customizable. One of those things you'll see here on the animation is our CLI. So until now, or until the CLI, you had to sort of work directly in the admin, which was absolutely fine for building sites, but you might prefer to work in an IDE, you might prefer to tap into some of the Platform OS functionality and build custom features. There's all sorts of stuff you might want to do using GraphQL, all sorts of things that take it up a level. We'll make sure that SiteGlide helps you do all of the essential things and some really cool things within the UI, but developers now have the ability to completely control it. And this demo is showing how you can quickly pull down all the assets on a site, start editing them locally in Visual Studio Code, and put them back up and edit pages that way. Again, feel free to ask questions. That is released, that's available to use. We've got partners using that all the time, and it gives you full control over the Platform OS instance. Essentially, you can do everything that you can do with Platform OS. And the next one would be the public API. So the CLI is fantastic for doing anything with Platform OS, but there might be a time where you need to integrate it with a CRM like Salesforce, or just work directly with some data somewhere else, fire data out, bring data back in. So we built an API to allow you to do this. It might even actually be between sites on SiteGlide or Platform OS, and that's something that a few partners have discussed with us. So I'll show you a demo of that very quickly. And then finally, Zapier is a good example of using the API. So we've taken the public API endpoints and built an integration with Zapier, so that people who don't want to do custom API development can quickly hook it up to Zapier and fire data to another system, bring data in, those kind of things. And that connects with thousands of apps. So it gives you a lot of possibilities. You might want to connect to Xero, Google Sheets, hundreds of others, thousands in fact. So I'll quickly show you a demo of the API, and the Zapier side of things. So this is a page where you can go to already. You can then start to use Postman, or you can use whatever you want from a development perspective. But you go through the auth process. That's simply putting in email address, password, and URL of the site. So let's quickly do that. And then we'll go and get a site URL. And just go back to here. So you only do this once. This literally gets you the key, API key. You literally only do this once to set it up, and then you can just use the key in the background. So it gives you a key here. You get that key. Obviously, you can kill a key at any point. So it's now going to be live on YouTube. So we would just kill this key afterwards. It's only for this site, and you've got total control over just renewing the key and getting rid of that. So you would put that into here. Just do it to prove the point. I'm now authorized, and now I can do anything I want with the API. So you'd be able to go to web apps and say that for web app of an ID 1, I want to pull out some data, and that would go off and that would find all the items in a web app. So let's just quickly jump back over to web apps. There's 5 items in there. That is the data that's showing in here. You've got 5 items. So once you've got this, this shows you can go off then and do whatever you need to do using Postman, or you've got the endpoints and you've got the data. So you've got full control to build your own integrations. At the moment, we've got get web apps, get users, and get a particular user. You can do all of that at the moment. We'll be adding to it, and obviously send us any requests. So taking this concept, we then use this API to build a Zapier integration. So if all I've done in Zapier, a really simple one, is to get web app items. So I just quickly chose the get web app items endpoint. I authorized my account. It's simply a case of filling in a box with the details that we just did. So that's email, password, and site URL. Once you're authorized, you can then pick your web app again, like we just did, and what kind of data you want, and choose how many. And then you get some test data, and then you pick an action. So I just wanted to send it to a Google spreadsheet, and I was able to pick the spreadsheet and pick the fields that I wanted. So this shows some test data. These are custom fields from the web app as well, so it'll pull in all custom fields automatically, which is really powerful. Pick the fields that you want, turn that on, and then just go back to the home page. So we've got it here. If we now go back to the web app and add a new item, not very imaginative, item 6 content. Obviously you can have any fields. I've just built some very basic ones, and then pop over to here. Hopefully that's quick enough. Zapier runs every 15 minutes on the free one, so I've just got to run that, but that could just happen automatically in the background. If you're on a paid one, it can happen very quickly. That will then go off looking for new web app items, and you'll see that it's added a new item into here. I've just put the data in random fields. You could then go through and choose where to put it, send it to different applications. Once you've got this running, you've got total control over what to do with it, because the data's available in Zapier. If you're not familiar with it, then there's literally thousands of applications. You could send it off to MailChimp, project management tools, Slack if you wanted, do stuff with the data. So definitely recommend having a look at Zapier and using it if you just simply want to get data out or in, but you need custom API integrations for more complex things like two-way sync, that kind of stuff. Right. I think that's probably everything on the developer side of things. As far as I understand, we can now, you guys can now do anything really. You can build totally independently of SiteGlide and connect up as well. So you've hopefully got the best of both worlds. No ceiling, glass ceiling or limitations. And then the next one is the partner portal update. I'm not going to demo this. It's live, went live yesterday, and hopefully most of you have an account. If you don't already, you can just sign up as a partner and play around with it. So you get straight into the portal. But essentially, SiteGlide is built for agencies. We've overhauled the partner portal to set the foundations for handling all sorts of things. You properly managing clients, maybe even sub agencies. It's run off the platform OS partner portal as well. So the fact that you can have multi-level partners, multi-level clients, then sites below that, user controls, and also billing. So you'd be able to set your own pricing in the portal and take the payment using Stripe and then pass a fee on to us. So it's all automated. That bit's coming soon. But for now, we've set up the infrastructure to manage clients and manage sites. And manage users. So you can now invite users and assign them to a site, that kind of stuff. Also, there's a feature in there called resources. So you'll see things like the pricing page. We want to get as much information into there as possible, so you don't have to keep going off to web pages and asking, where do I find whatever it is? And it's going to be far more than just information. It'll be tools to really help you sell the product, use it, learn it, also work with other partners, which I'll come on to. We're really going to turn that into a sort of one-stop shop for agencies to manage anything to do with digital marketing. And I think that's everything there. So very quickly, a few things roadmap-wise. Move to weekly releases, as I mentioned. I just want to show you the, if you go to the docs site, which you can get to from the admin, there's just a little question mark that you can get there. You'll see that we've got a roadmap link, so you can see the roadmap, and you can also see release notes. So there was a release yesterday, 2 days ago, with portal updates and all sorts of things. So you can see what's happened, and we'll notify you every time. So you get an email or you get an in-app message from Intercom, and you'll know about any updates. So definitely keep up to date with that. But we will be doing weekly updates, weekly releases. Some of the things we've got coming very, very soon. So the layout library is in beta. That's happened already. That's now essentially. Email marketing, that is in beta as well. I will very, very quickly show that. Wasn't 100% sure I was going to.
Yeah,
so,
good. Do it.
So you can build. So this all hooks up to SendGrid. So SendGrid's working in the background. Again, API work that we've done and hooked up, but Platform OS have done the foundations of that. So we're sort of they've integrated with SendGrid for things like workflow notifications, emails, all those kind of things. But we've taken a bit further to do email marketing and BC-like functionality to start with, then more like HubSpot functionality and Marketo and all those things to do triggers and marketing automation. But you can build lists. You can put contacts into lists by having them fill in a form, for example. So this contact here, I just added to this list manually, but you can put contacts into lists. And then once you've got your lists with users in it, you can build campaigns. If we go into a campaign, you can give it a name, give it a subject, pick when you want to send it or schedule it for the future, pick the list that it goes to, and then you've got an HTML email builder. So this is where you dump HTML for now. You can use something like any online tool to build the email. You could use whatever you want really, but just build the HTML, drop it in here, and it's ready to go. Obviously, the next step is to do a visual version of this like we've done with Visual Editor. But you'd be able to edit that and save it, schedule it, and that would go off to SendGrid and send out. We have something in the works or in internal version which shows usage and stats. So it would show you things like bounce rates, send, all that kind of stuff. So we've already got that data, done the API work for it. We just need to put some of that into the UI. So that is on the roadmap for release in beta very, very soon. You can see it's pretty much there. And obviously we want to replicate BC functionality first so that you can do simple things, but then take it much, much further and do automations. Again, ask away on any questions and we'll jump into that afterwards. Ecommerce, I don't know how many of you have sort of used Ecommerce or seen it, but that's all there in in admin in beta, so you can create products. I haven't actually done any really on this site, but you do subscriptions, the orders, payment gateways. We've done Stripe and authorize.net at the moment. We're adding more, fully customize some of the settings. So there's a lot already in there, but we're doing a big update on this in the next few weeks, and that's going to be released in the next couple of weeks, I believe. But we're putting it in for Q3 to be a bit cautious. Events is an important part of that. That there's some projects that use that already in some ways, so we're going to expand upon that and turn it into a proper module as part of eCommerce. Then zero integration, that's one we've picked that is quite important for adding onto eCommerce and reconciling things. So we want to get at least one in there, but you could do your own. You've now got the API and Zapier, so you can get data into any system. And then finally, marketing automation, personal favorite, but everything else has to come first. So, but there will be a day where very soon where we'll be offering HubSpot-like functionality, Salesforce functionality to automate and trigger marketing processes using email campaigns, SMS, sorts of things.
That was a question I actually asked. You probably missed it, Luke, because Dean jumped on it. But that was, if you've got all of this data that's sitting there and I want to personalize an email campaign, not just put people on a list, but then have all the content defined based on my individual preferences, maybe the products I've bought, previous campaigns that I click through on, maybe if it's a site with an activity feed and I'm involved in group conversations, the conversations that I've had and keywords, I mean, all of that stuff can then feed into how that campaign goes out and is personalized to each individual person in their list.
Exactly, and that's what I mean about really wanting to do it, but the core has to be there first. The great thing about that is it could be a partner that ends up doing that for a specific project, turns it into a module, it goes on the marketplace, and it ends up being a core feature at some point. So really excited about the collaboration of partners and the way we can build completely powerful features into the product. Yeah, there's a lot of ideas and opportunity there, but we don't see any limitations once you've got data and a way of accessing the CRM. Bit like BC was the key. Getting data into one place and linking it together, being able to link data together, which POS handles incredibly well. GraphQL then allows you to really manipulate and pull that data out. So if we can do it with one thing, we can then turn it into a completely different use case. Yeah, so just wanted to mention a little bit actually on the community, the ecosystem and partners. It's been great the last few months, really working with partners as they come on board, getting them set up, building sites, migrating sites, seeing people do completely bespoke things, seeing people quickly migrate sites. Mark, I think you're on the call, you did 5 out of the blue and we're ready to put those live. So it's been great to see that. There's loads of projects I could mention. I've got one case study I've got time for, have a quick look at. But the main point here is we recognize that there really is a need for a community where some people are incredibly technical, some people are incredibly good at design, strategy, all those different things, and actually working together and being able to help each other across the globe is quite an important piece. So we've put together the community concept of solution providers, so people work sort of directly with clients doing custom projects, or any kind of projects, and then development partners who might be both, but really are there to assist with project development, complex features, maybe CLI improvements and building modules. There's a few partners that I know are sort of keen to do that, and we've been discussing that with. So, and then obviously turning that into a marketplace at some point and being able to sell those services, sell modules, features, and we're obviously working very closely with Platform OS on that, who are already sort of making progress on that. And the main thing and the important part of that is knowing that we've not just got those two types, we've got Platform OS there supporting us, giving us the latest technology, an incredible platform. For the moment, it's on AWS, and which is a fantastic platform, but I know they're keen to make sure that it can work on any infrastructure as well. So we know that they're there to to really make sure that the infrastructure works to the best way it possibly can. And then, yeah, so if you are perhaps a solution partner, a solution provider, and not sure how to get started, maybe don't want to migrate sites, don't know how, want some help, then we are putting together a community area where you'd be able to find partners both on the solution provider side and the developer partners. So there'll be a place in Portal where you'll be able to see partners, see their profile, see showcase of work that they've done, bring in certification to make sure that partners are up to speed with all the standards and able to help with best practice. And yeah, be able to sort of reach out and get a quote and start working together. There's just a few there. There's two that I've got a case study for, we'll have a look at, but I know everyone knows Adam Cook, and I'm sure he's on the call, hopefully, who has worked with BC partners in the past on BC in a very similar kind of way, supporting them over the years, and it worked incredibly well. So again, we just want to bring that community together and help each other. We've got Ash on there, Louise, Mark, yeah, Helen, DJ, quite a few different partners on there. So it's been great working with everybody. And if you are wanting a bit of help, SiteGlide doesn't do project work specifically. It would pass to a relevant partner, but SiteGlide supports on system improvements, bugs, all those kind of things, and supporting those development partners. So an example of that, very quickly, would be a case study. We worked with Devon Reel from Enginate, from a SiteGlide perspective, making sure that he had the functionality he needed for this project. It was a big project on BC, one of the biggest, we believe, in terms of BC sites and size and users. So helping make sure that he could do it in the time frame. It was a narrow time frame, and built some bespoke features for him, including elements of the subscription side of things. But then he worked with Wizzy, the agency in the UK I mentioned, to he did all the design and strategy work with the client, and then Wizzy took the designs, converted them using design systems to the latest, well, obviously to best practice code, customized them fully, built them into SiteGlide, and then built all the modular elements. So made sure that everything was set up correctly, and then integrated it with any of the the custom bits that SiteGlide built on top. So it's a very collaborative way of working. It was extremely successful. He's put a testimonial up there, but it's been fantastic working on projects like that with or hearing about them with different partners and seeing different types of partners work together. This site has been a good success, but I'll let him maybe comment on a case study of it later another time perhaps. But I think that's a good example of how partners can really work together across the globe in this case, or maybe partners from a certain area of the world can work together and give that the client better, great service, and then come to SiteGlide for anything more bespoke or any support. So summary, I think it'd be pleased to know. So yeah, basically SiteGlide is ready now to be building sites, migrating sites from BC. The core functionality for most sites is there. We've got web apps with one-click import. We've got the design system, many of the core features that you would need to build sites quickly and easily. Been amazed with some partners putting sites starting and finishing in a day, a few hours even. So yeah, we've got all the modules, got some modules available, and then partners to help assist with that if you need. So we're doing an offer just for a limited time where typically you get a free partner site after 10 client sites, but we've decided to give that away to the first 25 new partners, and you'd have that for life. So you get one client site live, and then your partner site would be free. And
is that the first 25 partners that put a site live?
Yes. So right. Yeah.
Just wanted to clarify. So not the first 25 people to sign up and then do nothing, but the first 25 partners who go live with a paying client then they get their free?
It's the next 25, because we've got partners already. All of those partners will get that. So you're all welcome to have a free partner site as of now. And then the next 25 partners to put a site live will get that as well. We just wanted to obviously, say thank you for choosing the platform and give a little incentive. And
they need any more incentive after what you've just shown us, but that's very generous.
And just want to reiterate, I do believe in a lot of cases, we're really impressed. We're really pleased with some of the things we've built. We're pleased with what partners are building, but it's all that it's important to have that infrastructure behind us and an incredible team as well. Adam and his whole team are fantastic to work with. We've got the tools we need to build something in record time, and you now using the CLI and API can really get the most out of that as well. And it enables agencies, us, to do things at an enterprise level that just wouldn't have been possible on many other platforms. I firmly believe that, and I think many partners are seeing that as well. So and then leading on to our point, really, we're not really just trying to replace VC or help people solve the problem of migrations. That you can do that in lots of ways, lots of people offering that, and lots of people already doing it. But yes, it's important to migrate the sites, but really I think it's more important to personally I would hope that get the right platform that allows you to do everything you need, give the client the right solution, and not really hit limitations or just literally copy over old code that in some cases could be very old. So we'd really like to see people testing out the design system and seeing what they can do to take websites to the next level. Right, I am almost there. So yeah, if you've not signed up and don't have access to the portal, it's completely free. Just literally go to the link, sign up. You get access to the portal. You can create clients, you can create sites, you can invite users, you can fully test it out. And then either create or migrate a site. Do it yourself if you want to. It's pretty easy to do now with some of these new tools, or speak to a partner who can help you. Speak to us and we'll put you in touch with one. Got there eventually. Just a huge thank you to Platform West for inviting us and for working with us and helping us deliver what we've achieved. The rest of my team who have been absolutely incredible, getting these releases out, planning the whole platform, helping partners get on board, supporting them, marketing, all sorts of things. And obviously partners who are building sites, been fantastic working with you guys over the last however many months. Some really interesting projects there, and it's a really exciting time. So great to be obviously in the Platform West community. We're talking more and more with partners that perhaps we haven't spoken to so much. And seeing what collaboration is possible there. So it's great to be part of something much bigger on a platform that we truly believe in. So thank you for everybody that's watching. Over to questions.
Awesome, Luke. Can you go back one slide, please? And yes,
sure.
I just want to echo the thanks to all the people behind the scenes that have made it possible for this to happen. They're usually lurking in those, not in front of the camera so much. I just want to get that up there so we can put it in to the chat for those who haven't already used it.
Dean or somebody can put the link in.
There we go. I've just popped that in there. Fantastic stuff. Very exciting. Huge leaps and bounds. I was very impressed. Any questions? What questions have we missed from the thread earlier? I know that Dean and Matt have been doing a great job of answering people along the way. Progressive web apps, I think probably people are asking, having Daryl in the channel now and the work he's been doing. Is that something that can be powered through SiteGlide as well?
So we've set it up to handle any kind of front end code and platform and framework and everything really. So there's mainly a front end decision. We know of a few partners doing projects that involve that. So one is a Wizzy project, actually, is a shopping mall doing the screens and kiosks for the map and visiting. So that needs to be able to work offline, and it needs to be an application that runs separately on a machine. So all sorts of opportunities to do those kind of applications, and yeah, progressive web apps, single page applications, those kind of things. And obviously you've got platform OS there at the core as well via the CLI. So yes.
Nice. Did we miss any questions from earlier on? If we did, please just paste again. If we didn't, well, a round of applause for Luke. I will give 2 rounds of applauses. So those questions that do come through, we'll just revert back to. But fantastic work, absolutely. I think everybody's like, when's that email marketing thing coming? You know, it's always the way. You do an awesome job. You've had the team bust it and just knock it out of the park. And then it's like, okay, what's next? Very excited to see the roadmap. Let's get that link up again, because I think that would be excellent just to have people, the sign up there. Obviously, we'll have, we go back one slide just so that the people watching the video, not seeing the chat, will have that link front and center. Yeah. And the HTTPS admin.siteglide.com/sign-up. That's where you go. And there's the docs link, which is docs.siteglide.com. And you'll find the roadmap in that spot as well. Brilliant. Well, there's been no more questions coming through. And Steve's saying he's excited to get into it. Robert speaks very highly of you, Luke. He's saying, fantastic job, son. And then we've got applause for Mark and Barbara and Daniel, and everybody else is giving applause. So those watching the video, things probably have progressed, and you might be wondering more about the e-commerce and the email marketing functionality that SiteGlide are building in. Go and check it out, because it's probably live by now and you can take a look at it. I think we'll leave it at that then. Please reach out to the team at SiteGlide. It's a little later in their evening, so they're probably ready to have a well-earned break. Again, thanks everybody on the SiteGlide team. It is a pleasure to work with you guys as well, and can't wait to see what's next.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Yeah.